Hi guys, welcome along. It's Dave here from MyGee Trading, and I thought I'd just do another follow-up tutorial video for the settings within the heads-up indicator. So this is a chart here that I briefly showed you on the previous tutorial video, and it's of scale, SKL. And when we looked at it a few days ago on the 4-hour chart, you could see that obviously things were pretty much living underneath the EMA 50, and it was pretty much on a downward trend. You can see that in the USD chart there as well. And essentially what's happened is it's kind of leveled out and we've had a bit of a breakout there happen. So I just want to sort of show you quickly on this chart here. Also, you can see here today, it's the usual kind of altcoin day where just it's a really mixed market. Bitcoin has been going sideways over the weekend. It's been sitting at 109,000 for the last 2 days. It's Sunday today. So it's been sitting there for, the last 48, 72 hours. And that's why you see kind of sporadic, moments within the market when it comes to the altcoins. But that's why this indicator was actually developed. It was for days like this where you can obviously look at different coins and see what the relative strength, is doing for that particular coin. So the other day we checked it out and this coin was literally on a sort of downtrend, like you can see. So this is the 4-hour chart here. It's a bit different on a 4-hour chart, but if we flick to the 1 hour, you can really begin to see a sort of different picture. The 1-hour chart is actually very good when you've got an asset like this that's on a downward trend. Now, the reason for that is just basically the trajectory that the moving average is going at. You will see an earlier signal from the 1-hour chart when that moving average starts to level out, okay? Before you get that breakout. If we go back to the 4-hour chart, you'll see that things are, a lot shorter. Everything's more compact. So you've got a couple of fake outs happening here, but essentially we're still on a downward trend. And obviously we've only got a little bit of a section there where the moving average has started to level out and started to turn up the way. But, by the time that's happened on the 4-hour chart, this breakout has obviously already happened. So the 1-hour chart can be very good, and you can obviously, start to see why this indicator is called the heads up indicator. If I just expand this window a little bit, we can have a quick look. So essentially we've been on a downward trend here. We've had the live ratio line sitting under the EMA 50, and essentially it's come up here and it's now breached over the EMA 50. So it's come very close to it. And at the same time, you can see that the EMA 50 itself has leveled out. It's started to straighten up. It's turned around from being a downward trend and it's started to straighten up here. So we've come back down again. We've tested the purple EMA 20 and we've popped back above. We've come back down and retested again. And then obviously we can see on the USD price chart that the breakout has then begun. But because this is a small cap crypto coin, SKL scale, these kind of movements are very sudden. But this indicator on the 1 hour especially, when you've been on a downward trend like this, can give you a real heads up as to what's possibly, coming once this trend starts to level out, and as you can see there. Anyway, today's video was really mostly to try and delve into some of the settings for you. So previously on the tutorial video that I did before, I talked about the VWAP session. Now, the heads up indicator essentially uses your VWAP on a session to basically show you whether you're armed, your green badge saying armed, or your red badge saying wait, or your amber badge saying watch, and it shows you that from the different states. So obviously, again, the reason why we're in a green armed state right now is because the price right there is above your VWAP session line, and heads up indicator detects that, okay? And it also detects that your white ratio line, your live BTC, altcoin BTC live ratio line, is above the EMA 50, this blue line here, okay? So these are the only two requirements. The EMA 20, the 4-hour confirm, which is the dotted line there, is just a confirmation on a 4-hour EMA 50. And the EMA 50 itself is the requirement for both conditions to be met for that badge to turn green and say armed. So the settings we have inside the V session, the VWAP session, are just the basic settings. It's high plus low divided by 2, and it's just on session. You can change obviously these settings. You can get this indicator on TradingView. Everything is standard here, you know. So they're the settings you would want. These are the most reliable settings to use with heads up indicator. Okay. Wait for time frame closes. Yep, that's fine. And all these settings here are just standard. Okay, these are the standard settings. Okay. So on the heads up indicator, we can dive into the settings, and basically what this is right here is your BTC symbol. Okay. So if you're trading altcoins, you really want to choose whatever exchange you're on, Coinbase, Binance, etc., and then you would choose your BTC USD or whatever, you know, base, your base ticker you want to be your base pair. Okay, so I'm on Coinbase, and so it's BTC USD Coinbase for me. Now the fast time frame, the heads up moves inside the 4-hour bar. So what this essentially is about is your live ratio line here, and it's basically, you can set this to different times. What this means is if you set this to 15 minutes, you can see it shifted slightly there, but what it means is if you set this to 15 minutes, it'll update within a 4-hour period 16 times. So 4 times per 1 hour times 4. So 16 times this chart will update live, okay? And if you change it to 30 minutes, okay, it'll update every 30 minutes. It'll give you a more smoother kind of paint. It'll paint the line, the ratio line, in a bit more of a smoother, more reliable, you could say, structure, basically. You'll get less fake outs. Now, you can change that around and see what you prefer. I keep it on the 30-minute because it's a reliable, fast time frame. You know, whether you're on a 1 hour chart or you're on a 4-hour chart, it's a very reliable live ratio line that you end up getting from the 30-minute fast time frame, and it does move inside the 4-hour bar, so it doesn't wait for 4 hours to close before updates, you know, the live ratio line. Okay, you might see it actually, you know, move around. So the confirm time frame is essentially, if you're using a confirmation from the confirm time frame, it'll use that time frame, so you can select whatever time frame you want it to confirm by. What that means is if you get a 1 hour candle closed above, you would select 1 hour, and that'll use a 1 hour candle close above the EMA 50 to confirm, to heads up that we're in an armed position and it has closed above, or it has gone above the 1 hour EMA 50. So right now I have it set to 4 hours because, again, that's the most reliable kind of, you know, confirmation you want as a trader, trading daily or every few days, or, you know, doing swing trades. Whether you're on the 4-hour time frame chart or the 1 hour or any time frame chart, it always uses the 4-hour confirm in the background. That's how heads up works. So the require confirmation from confirm time frame, you can select that on or off. That means this is no longer valid if it's selected off, and once you put it on, that means it's valid. So when it's on, heads up only arms if the 4-hour ratio is above its 4-hour EMA 50, okay? And it uses live 4-hour data. Okay, you can see that right there. If you want it to use closed bars, in other words, closed candle data, you would select that, and you can see it explains there. It will use the last closed 4-hour bar for confirm. It's quite a strict, you know, confirmation. Okay, I prefer to use the live one because it's just a bit more flexible and responsive if you're sort of, you know, looking at faster moving assets. The EMA 20 is pretty simple. That's your EMA 20 right there, the purple line, and it's set to 20. And I think if you watch the last tutorial video, you know, you'll see why, because these are very reliable lengths for the EMAs, for this indicator anyway. And the EMA 50 is your main, you know, your main focus on this indicator, which is your blue line, your EMA 50 there. So these are the reliable lengths. You can change these if you want, but the product was designed, you know, for these lengths, and you know, we're seeing the best results from you know, these settings. But by all means, you can change whatever you want in there. So the Donchian look back is essentially about your high levels, and that's your green dots here. Okay, the green dots, as you can see, basically on the chart, are kind of letting you know what your last high levels were. So we were coming down on a downtrend here. Obviously, we had a high level here though, and it's marked that. And essentially, if you were to bounce back up, you would see that you've broke through that high level. I've got it on 48 right now, which is 48 hours. If you put it on 72, for example, you'll see these dots change, and they'll give you different look back. So they'll give you different high levels depending on what look back you set. So the further back you go, the more sort of stricter they are with your, your look back high levels, you see it starts to pick up only on the real high levels. Like this one here is for there, and this one obviously is for there, and this one here is for this high level here. So it just picks up more strictly on the real high peaks, okay? So different charts, you might find you want to use different settings. So 96 is 96 hours, so that's 4 days essentially. 72 is 3 days, 48 hours is 2 days. So that's just to explain a little bit about your Donchian high levels. If you don't know what Donchian means, it was named after the guy who created the trading style around basically high levels and level ranges. So you can look up a bit more about that if you want to explain to yourself and understand what the Donchian levels really represent. So live updates, don't wait for bar close. What that really just means is that you're going to see this white ratio, your live ratio line. It's going to update pretty much in real time according to your fast time frame, whatever you set that to. It'll update within the 4 hours. It won't wait for a 4 hour close for the confirm. It'll give you a live update, visually in front of you, wherever the price is moving, your live ratio line, you'll see that happen, okay? And that's just your badge there. You can choose to switch the badge on and off if you want, and that's that there, okay? Inputs and status line, just like any other trading view, you can add your status lines in there, okay? And then you can save your default if that's what you like as your default, okay? And that's just the usual kind of trading view stuff there. Again, you can put your values back in. I like to leave them off just to keep things a bit simpler. And yeah, that's it, guys. I mean, you can change the colors. You can do all you want. If you think you want a red line for any specific thing as a warning, or you want to change your colors to kind of make it more visually direct for you, so you can pay attention to things a little bit better, then you can change any colors in there, just like you can. Okay. So yeah, that's about it, guys. But yeah, as we can see, the heads up indicator has obviously been named the heads up indicator for a reason. Especially on a downward trend like this, you can really see that many times it's nearly breached the EMA 50, but it's only really when the trend starts to level out and it's starting to look positive again versus obviously a negative, downward trend, that you start to see that EMA 50 being breached, with the live ratio line coming across it. And that obviously is a very good heads up signal that, okay, this coin is now looking like it's in a lot of strength, and you can start to pay attention to your USD chart and start to see that some of these candles are closing above your VWAP session line as well, which is just a positive place to be in, really, if you're wanting to enter a trade. And then obviously, look, things have obviously started to happen once we've retested that EMA 50 and then gone back above again. That's a good signal there, because essentially you've gone above the EMA 50, you come back down underneath it, we've gone above it again, and we've retested it quite sharply and then come right back up. So it's a good sort of immediate impulse, rejection of going below to then back above. So it's a very good signal to enter there. And then obviously we've had a really good breakout. So there's a reason why this indicator is called the heads up indicator. It really helps you, get an edge in the market and gives you a bit of an advantage and a bit more clearer sight to how your coin is performing within the crypto market versus Bitcoin, rather than just looking at your USD chart. Okay, guys, thanks very much. I hope you have a good day. And if you've got any questions, by all means, you can send me an email on the website. I'll be more than happy to answer them for you. Okay, thanks very much.